Good morning. Welcome to the Friday edition of Breakfast Central. Thank you for staying with us all through the week, looking through some of the biggest stories that have happened across our country. We're so delighted to be coming. Although this is Benga's, it's not his favorite day of the week because he typically likes to work into the weekend as a very hardworking Nigerian that doesn't work for money, he works for passion. But for me, I'm very excited about the weekend. My name is Oriire Modi, and for the next 3 hours, we'll be looking at some of the biggest stories in Nigeria. We'll also be taking your phone calls. When the phone lines open during the newspaper review section, please call in then. But before then, from the start of the show all through to the end of the show, your comments will be taken on YouTube, where we stream live via News Central TV Live. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Olive. You look very radiant this morning, I must say.
Thank you very much, my friend.
You look like Miss World of Ogba and Environs. Let's start.
News Central Miss World.
Let's start from somewhere. News Central Miss World.
Thank you.
It's great to be here. Thank God it's Friday, like Olive said. Friday feelings, bittersweet. Bitter because, I'm going to miss viewers. I'll miss doing this every day. I've been begging management that they should put us on 7 days a week, even public holidays, 365, Christmas, every day, because of the passion we have for this job. We're here to serve you.
Exactly.
Without you, there won't be us. Know what I'm saying? It's great to be back. And today is Friday. Some gist, because I know I wake up conversationalist. They like gist and a little bit of gossip. So let me just inform you that the SGF of Osun State that was arrested 2 days ago has been released. And
wow.
Rumors as to why he was arrested. They said he was laughing at the Commissioner for Police and things like that. Anyway, we'll get into the details during the course of the show. My name is Benga Aborowa. Welcome to the program. 3 hours of packed, insightful discussions, analysis, and breakdown of the biggest stories happening in the country. You're welcome.
As you can see, it's just the two of us on show. Joe was very unwell yesterday, started on the show, but because of his dedication to the job, he was able to see it through. We had hoped he'll feel better before the end of the show, but he doesn't feel better yet, so he's not at work. He's pregnant.
Yes, yesterday, I lay my hand upon his head to make sure he's healed. He didn't walk. But we hope to have him back.
In 9 months' time, we shall come visit him.
Me, I'm not there.
With a boy and girl.
You are mocking our leader.
Are you not happy that your leader is on maternity leave so that you can ring bell?
I finally have taken over.
Please head to the YouTube
This is Benga Borowa-led breakfast.
I love it a lot. I love it. Please head to YouTube chat box. Whilst Joe might not be here, he's watching live and he can read the comments. So please send him well wishes, best wishes. Tell him to get well soon. You can also tell him happy maternal leave and wish him safe delivery for his pregnancy. Benga, how was your birthday? What did you do for the birthday?
Yeah, it was good. I got home. My wife and daughter had a nice surprise for me. It was really touching. And I must commend my very lovely wife for my present. And for her present, which is being present in my life. And the present she gave you, which is the presence of your bouncing baby girl. Don't go and bounce out when you carry her. Bouncing is not like bouncing.
Okay, we've come to the end of July. So wrapping the end of July, we hope that if you haven't received the alert yet, today is the day I prophesy you will receive your alert today. But let's move on to Wake Up Conversation. The president of our country, our dear country, Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has declared that no ransom or concessions were made to secure the release of abducted pupils and teachers in Oriire, Oyo State, rescued after 56 days in captivity. Now, he also reiterated that his administration will not negotiate with criminals or pay ransom to secure the release of kidnapped victims, saying doing so would encourage terrorism and banditry. The president made the declaration on Thursday while receiving traditional rulers from Oyo State, led by the Olubadan of Ibadan land at the presidential villa in Abuja. Okay, first of all, I think this now lays to rest all the worries and the concerns of what happened behind the scenes.
But do we have a video, Mr. President?
Our producers, can you confirm? All right, please, let's take
a listen. Let's listen.
Congratulations on the Oriire, Oyo State's rescue that succeeded. I think we succeeded with your support, prayers, and I agree with you that we should commend the men and women of the armed forces for their excellent performance. On behalf of them, I accept your message, and I will forward this same thing and this same message on. As we emphasize the question of security, that each event teaches us new methods, open our eyes, challenge us to examine and re-examine our architecture, our strategy, our map and operations. And you will have seen we've given a geographical and numerical answer to the challenges. We refuse to pay ransom. We have the geography of the forest. We know what it is. And in answer to it, you've seen that from 8 divisions, now we are now moving to 12 divisions to shorten the response time.
Well, here you hear it from the president's mouth. I'm not going to say the horse's mouth. The president's mouth, where he says, you know, what's happened. And I think that this is an important conversation to have. Why? Because wherever there's been a kidnap, wherever there's been abduction, wherever there's been a rescue by the government, citizens always would ask, what happened? If you say that there was a rescue, how many people were killed? How many people were arrested?
Yes.
As opposed to just say, because the government has a hard stance on not paying ransom. And when there isn't enough clarity in that regard, remember that when this Oriire kidnap and rescue happened, or whilst they were in detention, rumors were flying around about the demands of the kidnappers, that the kidnappers were demanding how many billion kidnappers, such that the kidnappers had to use their spokesperson to then give Nigerians information and say, we're not asking for all of that, we don't know where that rumor is coming from. So where there's a vacancy in terms of information being given out, people will concoct things, which is why it's important. What the president is doing is what we... Exactly, leaves room for speculation. What the president is doing is what we should hear our service chiefs doing regularly, our law enforcement agents. Keep us to date, you know, weekly updates. When there's been a major kidnap like that, let us know, okay, this is where we are, this is how far we've come. You know, when the rescue happens, do a detailed release, a detailed town hall with journalists. Let journalists ask questions so that you can allay whatever the concerns of citizens are regarding that.
Absolutely. And Mr. President has come out to hopefully, maybe, the naysayers and the doubters, it would put it to rest. But I doubt it because, I mean, this is Nigeria. People will still have questions from what Mr. President has said. But it's a step in the right direction because we've seen this worrying trend when kidnapping for ransom has become a multi-billion naira industry. And by not paying a ransom fee and by neutralizing some of the kidnappers, it means the government is on top of the situation. We hope they sustain this sort of efforts to send a message to those who commit this dastardly act and put an end once and for all into the business and the industry of kidnapping for ransom.
Okay, but let's get results and reactions. But before then, just to mention that we've heard about the Oriire ones. Yesterday, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, we talked about the ones in Borno State who were kidnapped on the same day the Oriire kidnapped victims were taken away. So we need to also continue to mount pressure, continue to talk about them. You can't imagine how discouraged they must be at this point.
It's been more than 60 days.
May 15th, June 15th has passed, July 15th has passed. Today is the last day in July. We're about to enter August. So you think about that.
Approaching 3 months.
Exactly, approaching 3 months in captivity. I shudder to imagine what's happening to them.
And it seems you've moved on.
Exactly, just like the world has moved on. But why are we not making as much noise for the Askaroba victims as we did for the Oriire victims. That's another conversation to have. Because it seems that when it happens in the north, there's much less agitation. There are those who would argue that after all, them. But no, these people are Nigerian citizens. Not every citizen in the north is a terrorist. We need to remove that mindset. They have dealt with terrorism. They have lived with terrorism for years. But we need to also give as much advocacy to them, as we do for citizens in the south.
Absolutely.
When this kind of things happen, it feels like the alarm bells only come off when it's coming. Oh, it's coming to the south. It's almost here. It's near Lagos.
Yes.
These are Nigerians. Every Nigerian is more important than another Nigerian.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, let's head to X. No. Let's start with YouTube. We'll take comments on YouTube. Head to X and then come back to YouTube to take some more. We're streaming live on YouTube via News Central TV Live. On YouTube this morning, thank you all for the, get well messages for Joe. Please keep them coming so that he will see it and know that he's indeed missed. Okpanachi Suleiman says, don't cover me, I will not read that comment. Okpanachi Suleiman says, in the realm of the spirit, APC is gone. Tinubu is, no, I can't read this one, no. Sorry. Yeah. Frank Obute says, from the posture of Mr. C in C, Nalamba in the drop. So he obviously does not believe what the president is saying. Femi Olagunju says...
Lamba?
Lamba.
Is it a type of a car?
I'm sure you can tell us.
Like a Lamborghini?
Because you do give a lot of Lamba on the show.
Is it a type of car, like a Lamborghini? Or is the car Lamborghini?
Benga, please leave me alone.
We'll Google it.
Okay. We also have... Femi Olagunju is asking a question. What about those kidnapped in Kwara since February? Nothing has been done up till now. This is worrisome. Those who were kidnapped, what can we say whether ransom is paid or not? Michael Zeus says, Olive, are you afraid of using well-known popular hearing from the horse's mouth? My dear, we have to be careful. Look, federal government most likely
is very respectful to our elders.
I have respect. Federal government most likely paid ransom. Otherwise, why release instead of rescue as narrated by the teacher? But also, there have been arrests. We must mention that there have been arrests made. The presidency disclosed that they've
a trial, even conviction.
Yes, 8 suspected kidnappers were arrested and in DSS custody, with several others killed during the rescue. We heard about that. Monanuga had also said the rescue involved no exchange, just like the president has said. Federal government on the 29th of July arraigned 2 Ansaru commanders plus 3 other suspects before the Federal High Court in Abuja on charges of terrorism, kidnapping, and the murder of the 2 teachers killed in the Oriire attack. The 2 commanders are Abubakar Abba Mahmouda, also known as Abu Bara, and Abubakar Abbas, also known as Malam Mahmouda al-Nigeri. They were originally arrested by DSS in August 2025 in operations against the Mahmouda terrorists. So these ones are not Oriire, okay. But yeah, they said these 3 newly arrested ones were picked up by the DSS and they are linked to the Oriire attacks. So just so we are clear, there have been arrests made in case we worry or want to speak about that.
The DSS is even appealing the sentence of life imprisonment to some of those commanders. They believe they should get the maximum sentence prescribed by the law, which is death.
Okay, I'm still looking at comments on YouTube. Nathan Emmanuel says, he didn't lay to rest, though, because we had a man that talked about how they were released. We also heard from another man from Borno who even also mentioned the amounts paid. He even said they are currently on midterm break. Yeah.
Okay.
We also have Michael Zuzu says, if Tinubu is right, why aren't they using the same strategy to release the Borno students? Instead, they clamp Bosia whistleblower who exposed Senator Alin Dume. Osa say happy birthday, Joe. It's not Joe's birthday. Wow. Joe is sick. You can actually...
the way you are soliciting for well wishes for him.
Yes,
it seems like a birthday.
So the day, God forbid, I will not be sick, but if I need to take sick, that's how you must solicit for get well wishes for me, because I will go and check. Marcus McCain says, rhetoric as always from Mr. President. Why waiting for a long time before coming to talk about no paying ransom? God bless New Central. God bless you too. Osa says, the person who was kidnapped told us he wasn't rescued. The kidnappers accompanied them to safety. APC is turning Nigeria into comedy. Mr. Johnson says, Mr. President said they didn't pay ransom. Okay, I hear him. LOL. Let's head to X now and see what Nigerians are saying about this on X as well. On X, LOL. Another reason why United Nations must investigate this episode. When last has he talked about other abductions? Why this? Benga, why do you think he's talking about this more?
Because, I mean, because of the type of dust it raised and the embarrassment for the government that, you know, we were seeing an extension of this kidnapping for ransom as school abductions in a region that has not been typically known for this sort of act. And it just shows that the government is losing the fight against terrorism and banditry. So, I mean, it made international news. That's why the president was particularly concerned about this one and seeing it to an end. And that's why he's been making statements about this. But like Nigerians have rightly said, look, Oriire is just one part of a country. There are active kidnapping victims that are still in the den of kidnappers in different parts of the country. Why can't Mr. President pay the same type of attention and efforts towards rescuing those victims? We mentioned Askari Uba in Kaduna State, which happened almost the same day the Oriire kidnappings happened, and those poor students are still in the kidnappers' den. So it's not yet Uhuru, it's not yet time to celebrate that you didn't pay any ransoms. It's what Nigerians are yearning for. It's to be able to go to bed with both eyes closed at night and have a secure country. But let's continue looking at what Nigerians are saying on X. Samson Olayimika says, so a Nigerian government doesn't have geography of other forests, and that's why they have been paying ransom. Because one of the statements Mr. President made was, we know the geography of the forest. And I guess Samson there has been a bit sarcastic. Akpobome Godwin says, and why there was no arrest? Okay, there were arrests, like we mentioned earlier, and they've been tried in the Abuja Federal High Court. And kidnappers said they were released before the military came. Oga, well done. That's casting aspersions on Mr. President's statement, because some of the victims of the kidnapping in a radio interview said they were released, and Mr. President said they were rescued. Well, is it a matter of semantics?
Maybe.
Or the tactics agreed upon which they will be rescued? I don't know. The jury's out there. Let's see that last tweet from Omotoyosi.
Okay.
Omotoyosi says, the decision not to pay ransom is a sound one. Some Nigerians were shouting for the government to pay ransom and even release their commanders just to free the kidnapped students and teachers. A serious government won't bow to emotions, he says.
Okay, let's take a few comments from YouTube, and then we will move to our next story, still on YouTube. Prince Ajibade, yes, I think I may have avoided a comment earlier. Let me see. Yes, because there are certain comments I unfortunately cannot read because I am still guided by certain laws.
NBC.
The NBC, yeah, sorry about that. If you put another comment, I will read it. Marcus McCain says, what has happened to the one in Maiduguri and the one in Kwara and Kebbi State was free without... Anyway, I don't think I understand that comment as much. But we will continue to take comments, and we will use this mode and this time to advocate for the people who have been kidnapped in Askari Uba local government area in Borno State. They were kidnapped on the 15th day of May, same day as the Oriire kidnap happened. It's been about 62 days post-kidnap. They're still in captivity. It is yet to be resolved. We call on the federal government. We call on law enforcement agencies. Nigerians should, at this point, we should lose sleep. We have citizens that are still in the bush. We have citizens who don't know where their faith is. The sad thing about it is, we will say God forbid, but the truth is it can be you. And what happens if it is you tomorrow and nobody is there to kidnap for you, to advocate for you, and everybody just moves on? It's almost like kidnapping in Nigeria has come to a point where
it's been normalized. It's
been normalized. We've been desensitized. And also, I can now liken it to, you know, when a person loses a loved one. For example, my father dies. My father is dead, so I can use that. My father dies, and I'm in so much pain and so much grief. And I expect the world around me to understand. But everybody just says sorry on the day or that week. And after that, they move on with their lives. And it's almost like you're there wondering, my life has literally paused, and you're moving on without me. That is how it feels like with these kidnapped victims. Their realities,
which is really,
I can't imagine if any of them, I don't even want to voice it.
And you need to see the conditions how they live when they're kidnapped.
They're not able to have their bath.
The trauma.
The women there would see periods inside the bush. If you think about the practicality of your everyday life and the discomfort you have to live through, you will do number one and do number two in the bush. You will not be able to have your bath in the bush. For women, they will see their periods in the bush. Some of them may even be sexually assaulted in the bush. So I think that if we start to practicalize the reality of what everyday living is, then bring that home. Bring that to these people in the bush. Maybe we'd have some empathy for them.
I will stop looking at them as figures. And
yes, it's just numbers.
And humanize their plight and pain.
Until we also need to get to the point where we start naming names. Let's stop calling numbers. Oh, Lagbaja, this one and that one were kidnapped.
Tell their story.
Tell their story. Humanize them. Tell us this one is the daughter of so and so. And I think that we journalists also have a role to play there.
Absolutely.
Right? The daughter of so and so person, the wife of so and so. We make them into human beings.
Again, I mean, not to absolve the journalists of blame, but it's the volume of it. If you do this, I mean,
next week another one.
Overwhelming. Exactly. That's why the government can't afford to, fly the flag at half-staff every time there's a major terrorist incident or a killing in Nigeria. Because, I mean, the way things are going, it will be permanently flying at half-staff because of the frequency of some of these attacks. Look at the late Colonel. So many glowing tributes to him, Colonel Abdul Salam Ude, that passed on 2 days ago. This same insecurity. Very, very unfortunate. It's
unfortunate, and we, as a nation, need to learn to bear the burden of our citizens, of our brothers and our sisters in captivity. Until you, and I hope you don't, but the truth is everybody knows someone that has been kidnapped, or you've read a story. I was reading one and I shared here. They were giving them raw yam to eat just to keep them alive. That is the height of, that is despicable. Are we animals? Have you returned to primitive days? People are eating raw food just to stay alive. Sometimes they're not even giving them water so that they can look emaciated for when they send videos to their family.
I really think they need to send this message and carry out some enforcement with regards to the terrorism, death sentence for terrorism. Forget what the international community is saying about a moratorium on death sentences and that people have moved on, that it's not very modern. If you live by the sword, you should die by the sword. And I guess that's it.
Oh, well, wow. Anyway, our attitude to that, it shows a lot. I just remembered as we're speaking about this when we were celebrating Children's Day. Or, no, what were we celebrating? There had been a kidnap that had happened, and there was a speech released by the First Lady that made no mention of that. It's our attitude. We've normalized kidnapping, and it should not be normal. President Bola Tinubu has asked governors to focus on building roads to enhance the activities of security agencies instead of erecting flyovers where there's little vehicular traffic. President Tinubu spoke on yesterday, when he received a delegation of Oyo traditional rulers in Abuja, asking the governors to prioritize projects that impact the lives of the people and those that enhance their quality of life. According to the president, with the increase in allocation to states, there is no excuse for governors at the moment, unlike what was obtainable in the past. Let's take a look.
You have governed before as the governor. You need to help us communicate to these governors. Today, the economy of operation is high. More the money that I'm pushing to the states, if you had it during your own time or during my time, it would have been different. They are taking 4 to 5 times their money. In the past, nobody is borrowing money to pay salaries now. Pensioners are receiving their pay and gratuity. And they should do more to, instead of fly over where there's no numeric traffic, build the roads and arteries network to really enhance the quality of life and the accessibility of the security agencies to penetrate those areas. I will be calling meetings of so many of you traditional leaders to offer to listen to you and offer some suggestions. And throughout the country, I'll do that. I find time to listen to that. The immediate challenge is monumental. It's not an easy job, but to me, I asked for the job and I got it. You gave me the support and I got to do it. I accept the asset and liability of my predecessor.
Benga, I would
There you have
to
it.
you.
I mean, Mr. President saying the obvious and saying what a lot of Nigerians have echoed in the past. I mean, there's a lot of infrastructure deficit in the land, no doubt about it. We're still playing catch-up. But also, if you're going to deploy infrastructure or build infrastructure, be strategic about it. Build infrastructure that would have meaningful impacts on the lives of the citizens of your state. Build lasting infrastructure that would spur commercial activity and economic activities that will help connect farmers to their markets. Infrastructure that would preserve farm produce. Infrastructure that will better the lives, the quality of the human beings. I'm talking about the infrastructure of the brain, education, build for the future. Everything is not flyover. And a lot of these governors do it as legacy projects for their personal egos, to say that the first flyover in this state was built under my administration. Flyover to nowhere. I mean,
So that flyover project, to be honest, many people look at it as a number of things. One is a vain project.
Yeah.
Because it feels that if you do regular roads that people need to ply every day, you will not be seen to be walking. So to be seen to be walking, let me do flyover so that they can come into the state and be counting flyover.
Flyovers also have dual purposes, apart from transporting, apart from its regular use of being a transport infrastructure.
It's to manage traffic. For a number of people, yes.
It also serves as a tourist attraction, as we have seen in Edo State of Nigeria. Many families are going there for picnic. Many residents of Edo State, the government had to shut it and put gates. That's the first flyover that, Olive, this is not enough, man. I'm saying these things with the state.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, the governor had to put a gate there to say, look, we have not commissioned it yet to
calm down. They need Latin to calm down.
Flyover before Ashwaju, who is most likely going to commission that project. Ramat Park flyover in Edo State, in Benin City, a landmark project, flyover that has several purposes. And I just mentioned the fact that it serves as a tourist attraction for residents of Edo State. Have you not seen them having picnics there?
Is it not better?
Taking pictures.
Would you prefer them to do?
Content.
Do you prefer them to do that one with flyovers?
But it won't happen.
ShopRite.
I've seen things in this Nigeria. But they're making the best use of it now, because once it's open to vehicular traffic,
yes,
they won't be able to do
but
that.
Again, so back to what I was saying. Flyovers are very essential in states that have large populations.
Heavy vehicular traffic.
Exactly. Example would be that Ajah, and more people are moving further down. People are buying properties further down in Lekki scheme too, because being able to afford a property in Lekki 1, Lekki, that access is really expensive.
So they're moving towards Ekpe.
Moving towards Ekpe, and Ekpe is developing, right? If you want to live there, now imagine that you had to pass through that Ajah bus stop itself is a demonic bus stop with traffic normally.
Yeah, because
then if you now live inside Idado, what's that other place? Oh, I've forgotten that other place by the right. Langbasa. Langbasa is by the left.
So I'm not used to all this.
Sorry, I've lived there. I've lived there before, so I know what I'm saying.
There's island, there's also hinterland.
Not like I lived there. Well, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Langbasa, Idado, to get there, there's only one road. So literally, you have to go
Everyone,
in.
even if you have business further down.
Everybody. For those who
still have
don't know
to be
these
on the
areas, so imagine that there's a roundabout, and at that roundabout, there's one road here, one road here. For anyone who needs to go further down into this road, you must come in through the Ado Road to get there. So the whole Lagos, passing through that Ado Road to get there. People trying to go to Abraham Adesonya, people trying to go to Shangotedo, they will still wait because of the traffic. But what the flyover does is that you don't need to go through under the bridge, you just go over the bridge, right? So flyovers are very necessary, but only necessary in places where you have that much vehicular traffic, right? We'll take a very, very, very short break. When we come back from this break, we'll take comments on what Nigerians are saying on YouTube and on X, so please stay with us.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central and Olive.
Yes, we'll continue to share what Nigerians are saying. We hope that the governors have heard President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's charge saying, stop building flyover.
Frivolous
flyover. It is giving eye service, build roads. And I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the Lagos state government as well. Please help us to fix our roads. Our tires are suffering, our cars are suffering. Every time we get into a speed bump, your station will change to another channel. Some people can even, don't let somebody go out.
I've been trying to fix an appointment with my mechanic to change my bushing and, you know, have a look at my ball joints because of the quality of the roads in Lagos. It's very
terrible.
sad and horrific. Look at Uzumba and Badiwe, for example.
If Ricardo Banks knew that this is how Uzumba and Badiwe will look like, will he have used that song to sing? No. It's not nice. Go wrong
for the
now.
amount of IGL that Lagos State generates and the money it gets, it's a travesty that its roads and infrastructure are in this state. Lagosians deserve better. And kudos to the men of the Lagos State Public Works Department. They've been doing some remedial works because I raised this point, I believe 2 weeks ago, along the road that takes us to the office, Latif Jakode Road. There's some potholes there that were clocking 6 months because I used to do birthday for them. 6 months old potholes that have been covered now. So kudos to them for.
Did you see that video of the guy that used to celebrate potholes? He takes with the cake. Maybe we should start doing that in Lagos. The problem is that.
But DSS will come and catch you.
Even before DSS catch you, you will run out of money because you use your full salary every two footsteps. You see pothole craters. So you spend all your money celebrating potholes. But please, we want to appeal. Let these roads be fixed. The coastal highway is not the only major road in Lagos. We have roads within Lagos, on the island, on the mainland, and the floods have worsened them. Let's take comments on YouTube. Mr. Johnson says, roads that should be fixed, but it's coastal road that millions of Nigerians might not use. Maybe, okay, no. He starts by saying, Olive, this is a serious matter. Gbenga, you're very much on point. Meanwhile, the president and Minister of Work will be hit with the same stone the president is throwing. Not fixing the major inner roads that should be fixed, but it's coastal road that millions of Nigeria might not even use. Maybe they don't even understand what they are doing sometimes. Sorry, Jare Gbenga, and he says, you please take water. He's taking water, thank you. Yes, I was trying to remember Badore, thank you very much. Governors have been receiving massive allocation now. Infrastructures that will better the lives of the citizens is what they should focus on. Flyover is good, but it must be done strategically. We agree, it must be necessary. Soja Boy Gbenga, you can find trouble for you and you have to... I'm not sure I understand this comment, but yeah, I think it's making reference to your joke about what happened in Edo State. Anyway, let's see what Nigerians are saying about this on X as well before we share with you what the top stories are. On X, allocation to states increased, quality of life and security reduced. All eyes on the federal government. What a mismatch, Shegun Benson says. You should tell that to Dave Umahi, king of flyover on the road. You can sleep for like 5 minutes and no car will be in sight. John Eke says, please, what's the value of the salaries they are paying now compared to what you claim they borrowed to pay then? And why are people suffering more than ever before? I'm not sure if this one is related to the road story, but let's go on. Facts. They should woo investors to invest in power and railway to boost socioeconomic development in their states. The next tweet says, if the goal is to get us home faster, maybe start with better roads, not sky-high shortcuts.
Let's also work on the human beings that live in this country, the quality of human development and their education, making them well-rounded citizens and all of that. We also need to, pay attention to that too. So you have quality human beings who would not vandalize public infrastructure and use them responsibly. That would also be a nice point to make. Okay.
All right. Let's share what our top stories are this morning. Sorry, but before I forget, just as we wrap up, the importance of the roads again, the president has highlighted the link to insecurity. And I think that that's a good point to mention, because imagine that, God forbid, there's an attack. Police wants to be chasing terrorists. It's inside pothole that they want to be chasing.
The flip side of it is the pothole can help slow down the victims. That one too is there.
Okay, you are right. Let's share what the top stories this morning are.
See what Nigeria has cost. Look at what we're discussing.
What a shame. Some political conversation starting with the ADC that has slammed President Tinubu over his fight to finish remark. Yesterday, our guest was defending it. INEC rejects routine military deployment during the election. Peter Obi is not happy with leadership crisis in OK movement. Kwankwaso spokesperson Ladipo Johnson joins us this morning to talk about that. We'll be establishing state police conversation. IGP backs research supporting new model. Newspaper front pages, as always, with our analysts joining us and with the phone lines open for you to calling. Stay tuned. Fresh questions are being asked about the cohesion of Nigeria's emerging opposition coalition after Chief Ladipo Johnson revealed that Peter Obi is unhappy over the leadership dispute within the OK movement. While Johnson insists the disagreement is only a temporary distraction, the development has cast a spotlight on the internal dynamics of a movement expected to play a key role in ongoing coalition efforts ahead of the 2027 general elections.
The timing is particularly significant as opposition leaders continue consultations aimed at building a formidable political alternative to the ruling APC. Many observers, the issue is no longer just about a leadership disagreement within the OK movement, but whether the opposition can effectively manage internal differences, inspire public confidence, and sustain the unity needed to mount a serious challenge in 2027. To help us unpack these developments, we're now joined by Mr. Ladipo Johnson, NDC chieftain and 2027 Lagos Central senatorial candidate. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Johnson, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thanks for having me here.
Now, you were the one who disclosed that Peter Obi is unhappy over the leadership disputes within the OK movement. What exactly happened, and how close did this disagreement come to undermining the movement's objectives? What's the bone of contention and the crux of the matter here?
Well, naturally, he wouldn't be happy. He's not happy. Neither is Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, because as far as many of the leaders are concerned, both the principals and the leadership of the movement as well, it has come from, I think there are some minor disagreements, and there's some minor disagreements, and you find that it was unduly escalated. I mean, you might have a disagreement with one or two officers of the movement, but you do not escalate it in such a way that would bring it into the public domain. Basically, one or two have disagreements or had their disagreement with the Director General, Mr. John Uhulu. And because one of them had was the person controlling most of our tweets or our X platform, the person simply changed the password, not letting the others in, and started to issue statements that John Uhulu had been removed, this person had been replaced, etc. Unfortunately, one had to, that's when I say one, myself, I had to come out in public to say, no, this is not what is going on. We had tried, and we're still trying, and I know that the principals are getting involved, and it's going to be sorted out very quickly. But these, as I said before, these little things are not what should be distracting a movement that has done so much so far. Quarter to the campaigns. Campaigns begin on the 19th of August. So that was the disappointment. But I think, basically, experience or lack thereof and the failure to look at the bigger picture were probably responsible for where we are at.
Mr. Johnson, can you hear us? Are you still... Okay. Now, you've described this crisis as distraction. For many Nigerians watching, however, it raises questions about leadership and coordination. You call them small issues, but I mean, if it's a small issue, we won't be discussing this on national TV. So why should Nigerians trust your party if you can't resolve what you've described as minor issues? Should supporters really believe that this is merely a temporary setback, or does it reveal more fault lines that are hidden and that could, raise its ugly heads in the future?
The first thing is that it isn't the party. It's just a movement. It's a support group. But because of the great work it has done, most people know it. They know of the group, the OK movement. So it's just a support group. It is not the party, as it were. Be that as it may, in any social setting, in any political setting, you're bound to have disagreement. And the thing there is to ensure that you keep your eye on the ball. Look at the bigger picture. Know that you might have a disagreement with a person, yet the bigger picture is that we're campaigning, or we're getting ready for the campaign. Now, the fact that you're in a position to affect things does not mean you should do so. You cannot simply just... I've told you what... if you know what caused it, where it's coming from, you would wonder why it degenerated at all. It's such minor things that happen. But because, as I said, at times youthful exuberance and what have you. But what should be paramount is not in saying that there's an issue, is in showing that as a group we can stamp it out and then move forward even stronger and as united as possible. And I believe that is what will happen. But it was just important to come out. If one could have kept it out of the public eye, one would have done that. But because it was someone announcing publicly things that were not, or that are not the position of things, then we had to come out quickly to say, no, this is not the position.
Okay, thank you for explaining that and saying that you've come out quickly to state what the position is. Your party, the OK movement, or your movement, more like, has been seen as an important vehicle for opposition collaboration ahead of the 2027. PDP believes they are still in the running. A lot of Nigerians don't believe that they are. Many looked to the ADC and the NDC, but yours, many also, based off the Obi Kwankwaso influence, had hoped that this would be a formidable collaboration or a formidable opposition come 2027. Has this episode that has occurred, I know you say it's not a big deal, I know you say that you just had to quickly speak about it, But has it exposed broader challenges in building and sustaining a coalition of different political parties? And do you still believe the OK movement to be that formidable opposition for 2027?
Well, I think the OK movement is formidable. We have our coordinators from the national down to the ward. We're strengthening, beginning to work to the polling units. We need to do that so that we can give the party the support it requires. INEC has changed things now. When you have polling agents now, you don't just get tags for them. You must upload the name or the names of the polling agents per unit, and their tags come with pictures. So this is something that must be done well ahead of December, January, when you have the election. And you see, the problem a lot of parties have is that they do not have humans at all the polling units. There you have problems, etc. You cannot defend your votes. You cannot protect the votes that people have come to cast for you. So the OK movement is working. There are many other movements that are being put together that are coming on. There are many working. There are people working. Now you have some different movements. For instance, under Kwankwasia, we have different movements. Under the obedient movement, you have different movements as well. So you at times when you're bringing people together, you're bound to have glitches here and there. Yesterday in Abuja, I had a meeting. There's a new movement that has come up, the One Nigeria movement, and it's looking formidable as well. And I didn't say, I'm involved in the OK movement. I went to their office and I got involved with them, advising each other. So what we're saying, especially to the younger ones, is it's not about the position you hold or what have you. It's about contributing to the bigger picture, which is to get the Obi Ponkozo ticket elected in January and hopefully be called upon to help bring good governance to the country. So that is it. The OK movement, back to your question, is still formidable. And as we move forward and begin to implement some of the things we have laid down, Nigerians will have, especially those who do not want this government to continue, they will have faith in us and know that we are giving the maximum support possible, strategic support possible to our principals, and that is the NDC and Mr. Peter Obi and Senator Kwankwaso. Another candidate down the line.
Now, Mr. Johnson, you've made it clear that, your main focus is on wresting power from the APC in the general elections.
We're not wrestling him.
Okay, let me change the word. Is to replace the ruling APC and win the presidential elections and have your principal in the villa after the general elections. But the last time an opposition party pulled this off and defeated a ruling party, you had to take a broad-based coalition. What strategies do you have up your sleeves? And how do you intend to do this with a fractured opposition? You have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar on one side, you have the People's Democratic Party going it alone, you also have the People's Redemption Party with Mr. Donald Duke, and also the SDP with Prince Adebayo. So has that ship sailed, or is there still room for a broad-based coalition?
There is still room for a broad-based coalition. Now, you will recall that there were two schools of thought, because the opposition as a whole, rightly or wrongly, we felt that we were under attack, in quotes. Virtually every opposition party had one case or the other in court or one issue or the other. And we all felt, naturally, that it is either INEC or it's someone pushing them or what have you. Now, some people felt let us all be in the same basket. Everyone in the ADC. You remember the summit we had in Ibadan. I think you recall where you were saying that we should have one candidate against the president. Now, some of us felt that it was safer to have various parties in case you had a court case that deregistered one, or somehow a candidate was stopped because no one knew what was going on. And we still are not certain about everything. But if you have that situation, as we do have, then you know that by God's special grace, at least one will go through. Now, when I say it is still possible to have that broad-based coalition, when the campaign begins, and people are now moving around the country, you have about 6 months to the elections now, we will all see what the people are saying, how the various campaigns are resonating in various areas, in various regions of the country. Then we can say, before the elections, there's nothing stopping you from saying, oh, my supporters, please, we're voting for Olive. We've come to an agreement. There'll be power sharing. There'll be this, there'll be that. Vote for Olive. There's nothing stopping that from happening. It's only a matter of time. And I believe that as we move towards next year, January, we're still going to see a lot of things happen. The other thing that I would like you to avert your mind to is, yes, we all say, oh, you know, last time it happened, everyone came together under the APC, etc. But then we have, in this case, 60 plus million people in poverty. And when we're looking at the figures and saying, oh, you should come together, I think we should be with Peter Obi, etc., etc., we're not looking at that. It's not that the votes that APC had the last time, they're going to have the same votes now. A lot of people believe that we've never had it this bad. And that will count. That will tell as well. So I still believe that we're doing well. I believe we have a lot of work to do. We have to be smart about it. We have to think outside the box. But we are doing well. And by, I keep saying by November, December, it will become clearer.
Okay. As we start to wind down on this conversation, let's get your reaction to the statement that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made regarding, you know, the fight to the finish. There have been mixed reactions. Yesterday, we had a guest on our show. Whilst a lot of people pushed back on that, and the guest explained that, you know, fight to the finish means doing whatever you need to do in terms of within the legal realm to ensure that you win the elections. Is the OK movement ready to fight to the finish?
Or wrestle power.
Wrestle power, yeah, that's more like it.
Within legal realm, if I say to you, snatch it, grab it, run with it, do whatever you want to do, is that within the legal realm? The unfortunate situation we have is we have a president who is an astute politician, which is good for him and his party. But unfortunately, he hasn't transited into good governance. There's a difference between politicking and governing and serving people. By all indices that you have, he hasn't governed well. And this is one of the things. You cannot, when you are there as a statesman or as a leader of the country, there are statements you do not make. There are statements you do not make because it sends signals. When he says wrestle to the end or fight to the finish or whatever, what do you think that man, let me not use somewhere in my senatorial district so I won't be in trouble. That man in one corner of maybe in Mushin or Agege, who unfortunately is someone that is on the streets, is unemployed like many people are, has a drug problem, but believes that the people that can help him is the local honorable who is in the APC. What do you think he will, how do you think he will interpret that statement from the leader of his party or from his president? How do you think he will wrestle with some candidate of the NDC or the PDP or the ADC in his locality? That's why I say that when you are in a position of authority, especially the number one citizen, you have to watch what you say. Yes, you can campaign, but even within that context, you have to watch what you say. So it's unfortunate that he used that within the given context that we are in or we're at the moment. It's unfortunate. And based on what had been said before the last elections, or we go to court and grab it, snatch it, run with it. So, I didn't have it easy in opposition. I won't make it easy for them. Things like that, you try to talk tough. But you are damaging some aspect of the country. What do we say to the younger ones?
All right. I don't know. This is where I don't know if we has any other question as we draw the curtain on today's conversation.
Just one final question. Tomorrow is the 1st of August, and INEC has said campaigns for the presidential elections will start in earnest next month. Less than 24 hours from now will be next month. What sort of campaigning are you looking forward to? Issue-based campaign, campaign on policies, or are we expecting a jamboree, a musical carnival, like we've been seeing in the past, where items are shared? It's almost Christmas season. Because there's a certain type of, I mean, like you rightly said, more people have been under the poverty line now. So they're naturally most likely to gravitate towards stomach infrastructure or material gains rather than, listen to sound economic or policies and manifestos. So how do you intend to pass your message to Nigerians? Or is it a game, or is it a thing of if you can't beat them, it's best to join them?
No, you see, you cannot, I always tell people when I talk at the grassroots level, because, Nigerians watch football a lot, I always say you can't go to Barcelona and play a flowing tip-tap game, or to Arsenal, or to Man City. You have to play something differently. So if you say you want to join them at it, the resources that the APC put out there with the stomach infrastructure, which they seem to have perfected, you can't even begin to match that. What we have is that last time, Mr. President, the presidential elections, we had just about 29% turnout of registered voters. So the opposition have certain things to do. One is to get those who have been sitting it out, who have lost hope with the renewed hopelessness that we have. You have to get them out to come out to vote. If we have just 30-something to 40%, which is high, come out to vote, this government is gone, because it reduces the opportunity for them to rig. It is the low voter turnout that makes it easier for people to rig. But when you have voters there at the polling unit, people queuing up till 4 or 5 to vote, then it becomes more difficult for anyone to rig. So the basic thing is that I foresee a situation where we have to talk more on the issues We have to get people out there. We have to tell them. And I foresee the APC doing more of their stomach infrastructure, jamboree, music, spending money, which God knows where they got it from, and trying to tell people that, oh, there are reforms in place, you'll see the difference in the next few years, or what have you. That will be their lie. They wouldn't want to sit down. I doubt if Mr. President would come out to debate our presidential candidate or Vice President Atiku. I doubt if he will decide to come out and debate them.
Mr. Johnson, is that not what excites majority of Nigerians? I mean, I say this with all sense of respect and purpose.
Well, you can say that. I can't. I'm running an election. As I said, it might be what has excited those people who have voted, majority of those who have voted in the last 1 to 2 cycles. But as I said, we have our work cut out in ensuring that people like you vote, you see, and people who think like you, in ensuring that they come out to vote. Once that happens, then you have people who have their eyes open and who can consider the economy, look at what has happened, look at where we started from and where, etc., and then take a decision. Then we'll see how it will go. I am positive about it, but I know that we have a lot to do. Basically because those who seem to be active, unfortunately, are those who are prone to the stomach infrastructure thing. But the majority, as we always say, the silent majority, are there. They are right-thinking people, and we hope a lot of them will get up this time, come out, and not just stay at home. You see, just to add, just to close, a lot of propaganda is out there. You have propaganda out there, and basically, it goes thus that what is the point of coming out to vote? They tell us that all the time when we're doing this INEC registration thing. They say, what's the point? They're going to write the results anyway. Because a lot of people do not have confidence in either INEC nor the judiciary. I'm sorry about that. But they don't have confidence in the institutions. And
Then declared yesterday that INEC is neutral.
Yeah, is he the one that should be saying that? That in itself makes you fear. He is not the one that should be telling us that INEC is neutral. People will see that INEC is neutral. You know, I believe that I will say that I believe some people in the opposition might say you're talking nonsense, Ladipo, but I believe that we should support INEC, at least leave one eye open, and believe that things will be done properly, unless.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll continue to track the developments with the OK movement. Elections around the corner, campaign is around the corner. With all this drama happening, we certainly wish the party all the best, and we look forward to having you join us again.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. As global economic uncertainty persists, governments are under increasing pressure to balance economic stability with sustainable growth. In Abuja, policymakers, economists, and development experts gathered at the 7th Africa Emerging Market Forum to examine how African economies can navigate external shocks, improve revenue generation, lower borrowing costs, and build stronger economic resilience. Our correspondent, Joshua Imaraye, has the details in this report.
As the engine room for actionable policy.
Global economies have, at different times, been shaken by sudden geo-economic shocks, from the COVID-19 pandemic to the Russia-Ukraine war, and more recently, the conflict in the Gulf Countries across the world, including those in Africa, have repeatedly been forced to respond to these economic uncertainties. It is against this backdrop that policymakers, central bankers, economists, and development experts converge in Abuja for the 7th African Emerging Market Forum.
We need to pay attention to the development and challenges of African continent.
The highlight of day one of the forum was a dialogue between the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Kadosu. Okonjo-Iweala says that Africa must reduce its overdependence on foreign supply routes and global supply chains to build greater economic resilience.
I don't think it should be just a country-by-country affair. I think we need to think of sub-regional supply chains that take us from processing all the way to EV batteries.
And I have said it to my colleagues from other countries that, look, we had the luxury in the past of not worrying too much about these things, but now we don't have that luxury. Time is against us, and we definitely need to look at these things in a determined manner, bring down the barriers where they can be brought down, and at least begin the process of having a serious conversation.
On day two, Nigeria's fiscal policy took center stage as the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Taiwo Oyedele, addressed participants. Oyedele says that with interest rates remaining high, the government is developing a framework aimed at reducing the cost of capital for businesses and investors alike. He adds that for Nigeria to achieve lower interest rates and a more stable naira, revenue mobilization and optimization must remain a top priority.
Revenue optimization is number one. Number two, we said growth, because we need to grow. It just makes sense. And number three, fiscal discipline always. Revenue optimization, growth, and fiscal discipline.
As the forum draws to a close, economic experts say Africa must leverage its youthful population to drive economic growth amid continued geo-economic uncertainty. They say rather than merely adapting to a global order shaped by external shocks, Africa must play a more active role in shaping that order. In Abuja for News Central, Joshua Imarayi.
The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has commended the research done by the National Defense College for the establishment of state police, describing it as a strategic and timely contribution to Nigeria's police reform efforts. Disu made this known while receiving Nigerian Police Force participants at the National Defense College Course 34 in Abuja, saying that the study will provide practical recommendations on the establishment of state police with lessons drawn from policing models in India, Ethiopia, and the United States. Commandant of the National Defense College, Rear Admiral Abdullahi Ahmed, gave more insight into research, saying that it fully recommends and supports a dual policy framework.
You did a lot of work on comparative analysis. You went to India, Ethiopia, and some other countries, and even the United States of America, where they have already had experience of state policing, who have faced the rigors of failures and correction. There's no better way of adopting it by examining states, countries who have embarked on it, so that we can gain from their wealth of experience.
There's an increasing need to continue new policy structure and setting institutional mechanisms for effective maintenance of law and order. The national discourse on the establishment of state police has, in recent times, assumed greater prominence as governments, security practitioners, policymakers, and other stakeholders continue to explore sustainable options for enhancing Nigeria's internal security architecture.
All right, let's bring you a recap of what we have discussed so far and then share with you what's coming up next. This morning on Breakfast Central, we have looked at Peter Obi not being happy with the leadership crisis. We had Chief Ladipo Johnson join us to talk about this. And then we also spoke about establishing state police, IGP-backed research supporting new model. And we did bring you reports from the 7th African Emerging Markets Forum. Expert others chart path to sustainable economic growth. Let's now share with you what's coming up next on Breakfast Central. Coming up next on Breakfast Central this morning, we'll still be looking at the ADC slams President Tinubu over wrestle to the finish or fight to finish remark. INEC opposed use of military for election and will be going ahead of Osun governorship poll. INEC meets stakeholders, highlights preparation plans. Please stay with us. As Nigeria prepares for another electoral cycle, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reiterated its position that the routine deployment of the military during elections should not be the norm. Speaking at a seminar organized by the Army War College in Abuja, the Commission stressed that the Nigeria Police Force remains the constitutionally recognized lead agency for election security.
According to INEC, the deployment of armed forces should only occur under exceptional circumstances where the prevailing security situation requires military support in aid of civil authorities and always in line with the Constitution and applicable laws. The statement comes against the backdrop of long-standing debates over the role of the military in Nigeria's elections. While some argue that military deployment is necessary to deter violence and protect electoral personnel in high-risk areas, others contend that the visible presence of soldiers at polling units may intimidate voters, undermine public confidence, and raise concerns about the credibility of the electoral process. Join us this morning to discuss this is Regional Advocacy Officer, West African Democracies Solidarity Network, Mr. Austin Aigbe. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Aigbe, and thanks for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central.
Good morning, the great team in Lagos, and good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning to you, Mr. Aigbe. INEC says military deployment during elections should remain exceptional rather than routine. Do you agree with this position? And do we have enough security personnel to stand in place, to fill in the gap for the military?
Thank you very much. This is a profound conversation, or profound question too, that has always reoccurred in every elections. We don't want military deployment, and yet Nigeria is somehow in a war, and in an eternal war. Tell me any state in the Federation that there is no military deployment today. So when we talk about election is just one event. There are events leading to elections, and there are events after the election day. So the INEC response is correct. There's no doubt about that. But the truth is that INEC does not have the power to say that the military will not be deployed. That lies in the hands of the police, because the police is in charge of election day security. Also know, beyond election day security are other crimes on election day. If somebody goes ahead to do other criminal activity that is not election related, will the police not intervene because it's election day? No, the police will still intervene. If there is terrorist attack on election day, will the military not respond? The military will respond. These are not classified as electoral issues. These are normal criminality that is happening on election day. One of the days in the country, one of the usual days, just that the day is a day for voting. The law says, the Constitution, like INEC has rightly stated, the civil authority is in charge of election day deployment. However, the police will always rely on sister agencies, i.e., civil defense, road safety, fire service. But all of these entities have their merit and demerit. The police will also rely on the Navy. So people know, on the Navy, you're going to ask, why the Navy? The Navy is in charge of our waterways. There are locations that cannot be accessed unless you go through the water bodies, i.e. Bayelsa State. You will need the Navy support. You may even need the Navy gunboat to support and protect those electoral materials. The police will invite the Navy. to do that action. If the police think that their own gunboat may not be able to play that role. And in any case, the army, they are everywhere. If you are traveling from point A to point B in this country today, you are likely going to see military deployment. It's either they are at the border of each of the states. Nigeria has now become a country within country, where every border of state has military deployment to check who is coming to a new state, coming from another state. So are you going to say that on election day, all of this military deployment should leave their deployed area? No, because it's just an election day, and you need those military officials at the border to actually check some excesses. As we head to Osun election, between Oyo State or Ondo State, we're going to have military support around that corridor in order to enhance, in quote, security. The military are not necessarily deployed for election. They are deployed for support. And like INEC said, in excessive situation. Is Nigeria actually not in that kind of situation? Maybe that would be a rhetorical question.
Okay. I mean, you've talked about the police working with other law enforcement agencies as well. Nigeria has witnessed election-related violence in several parts of the country. How do we navigate a situation where we have these different law enforcement agencies working in collaboration? Do you worry that there might be an overstep of boundaries? How do we determine who sticks to their own responsibility or their own duty? You know, is that some form of concern if we're saying that we're inviting all the different arms of law enforcement to come and monitor elections? You know, is there a concern that this will lead to everyone maybe potentially overstepping boundaries?
No, not at all. It is a police that is inviting them. Police is providing them the direction. The police is telling them what to do, where they are supposed to be, the kind of support they provide. It is the police that owns election day security. Even the military, in deploying for election, they are deployed under the control of the police for election day activity. I'm very conscious of the kind of way I amplify elections. Yeah, because other criminal action that happen on election day is not classified as election day activity. If there's a robbery going on somewhere and there's an arrest or there's police movement to that location, it is not an election-related intervention. It is robbery happening, which is a typical criminal action that the police respond to. That is one election day. Every security personnel deployed for election has some badge on them. Either they fix them at the BAM or somewhere. There's somewhere notification that shows that this officer is on election day activity. For instance, like road safety, they don't have arms. Usually they are around the polling unit area. The same thing with fire service. Maybe because civil defense, sometimes they are armed. The ones that are armed are outside of the polling unit area. So the thing is this: there could be military deployment when like INEC has said, when there is a need for. However, they are not deployed to be part of the polling unit setup. Where in the Nigerian ecosystem, arms are not allowed, whether light weapon, small arms, or whatever arms it is, are not allowed within the perimeter of the voting station. That is something that we have tried to protect. That's where we say, don't scare voters with your arms.
So where would where would the arms be kept in that case?
Pardon?
Where would the arms be kept in that case? Because
how
we
would
can't
they
even
be able to respond?
Yeah, with the last elections, there were those. I mean, I was at the time I was living in an estate where there were thugs that came to physically attack citizens, and members of the estate literally had to resist them physically. There was no police on site to be able to fight. They were throwing stones and throwing bottles, and it got pretty violent real quick. We saw videos of people who had their face cut with cutlass and machetes during the election. So if we're saying that the police should not bring arms, how then can they guarantee that level of protection?
So you use the word thugs. Thugs accesses the polling unit from some form of highways or street or something. That is where you have those deployment. military with arms, police with arms are outside of the corridor, outside of that polling unit area that protect that polling unit. In any case, those talk assessing the polling unit is you can say a normal thing within the Nigerian political system because talks consistently invade polling units. Sometime, many years ago, not now, they come in to cut away ballot boxes, and at some point, bring them back and they are recounted. Those stories we no longer hear with the upgrade in electoral architecture. The police will always provide support. That's why they are closed, because there's a way they are marked. So they provide, when there are issues in that kind of estate you mentioned, the police is called in. But maybe in that particular case, the police was far away or the army were far away. Those who have arms, it's not that there were no police there. There were police personnel inside the estate who are to monitor or provide security with batting, not with arms, at the polling unit area. However, if it's even an estate, how did they go through the access gate? So those are some of the questions that you have to then begin to interrogate. So because it's a closed, the estate is a closed location, there are already security at the access gate, then there are police personnel inside the polling unit. However, outside of the estate, maybe I understand in 2023 election, there were instances of talks were moving from polling unit to polling unit, trying to derail voting in that location for specific reason, what we classify as voter suppression, so the police can look the other way. But usually, what happened is that the police with arms are outside the radar so that they can quickly assess area where there are challenges. Let me also put it on record, that before election, there are mapping of red zones, battlefield, all of the green areas. Where the police would have said this area is green, it means that there will be at least there will be relative peace in that location. So the place, that green area may not be a target for militarization. But where you say this area is red, which means going to be a battlefield, there is a readiness for security architecture. You would have seen that report from Anambra election. There were local governments that were classified red area and there were high level of deployment. But in other areas, i.e. Oka, where it was not similarly a bit of a red zone, it was also not a green zone, but it was like an amber zone, but the deployment was low. The police usually does those mapping to advise its deployment. But I'm saying that for the purpose of scaring voters, arms are not allowed. When I say arms, I'm talking about authority, the personnel that have authority to carry arms, the police, the civil defense, the military, not thugs. Thugs are not allowed there. Even if state police comes on board today, arms will still not be allowed. A Moteco operating in anywhere in Southeast will not be allowed to go in with arms. In any case, police advisory usually says that all non-state actors, i.e. Amoteco and co, who are not within the structure of the policing system, are not allowed to operate on election day. And we have seen them respect those orders.
Now, Mr. Igbe, our cousins in Ghana, if they're watching this program this morning, they'll be very shocked at the things we're discussing. This year will make it 27 years of our uninterrupted democratic experience, and they still refer to it as nascent. The Oxford Dictionary meaning of nascent is an adjective that means something is just beginning to form, grow, or come into existence. A 27-year-old human being is not a nascent human being. Why do we now have highly militarized and why is the atmosphere when it comes to elections, which are a civic exercise, so tension-filled? Even when we have off-cycle elections, the INEC and the police authorities boast about show of force. We've deployed 40,000 security personnel to monitor these elections. Meanwhile, even presidential elections in Ghana, people go about their business. It's not a public holiday. They go to work and they still You know, they understand it's a civic exercise. So why have we not made so much progress with regards to this 27 years later? Are we still a nascent democracy?
I like your evidential position by citing very ground-up dictionary. Let me say that those who argue that the Nigerian democracy is nascent is because our democracy, or what they call the liberal democracy, is a borrowed democracy. So you see whether it's from Athens or where we usually say America. People will say, don't always use America when you talk about Nigeria. But everything about your constitution is literally copied from the American system. Our presidential system, our bicameral legislature, the way we operate are all modeled after some form of US system. It is not that there are no other democracy. The federalism we operate in Nigeria is more modeled after the US system. The state system is also modeled after that system. So when you talk about nascent, they tend to use that system. Are they correct or are they wrong? It's a conversation that we can argue. You are absolutely correct. A 27-year-old son or daughter cannot be classified as a baby. There are 22-year-olds who are now having their own children, in 19, and they are having their children comfortably and maturing them appropriately. But this is where we have a problem in this country. You are right with Ghana's example. If you check in Ghana, the citizens' power has a flow, has a role to play in terms of who governs them. The same thing in Senegal. Citizens, no matter what the authorities, the actors, equipment try to do, citizens, when they say no, they go out to say no. There are many things that bedevil our democracy. One of them, which some people have always undermined, is elite consensus. Elite consensus is a big problem. Elite patronage. Then you then talk about ethnicity. You move forward, you talk about the way when we win, we are going to give you oil block. That elite arrangement actually impacts greatly on our democratic consolidation. In my work, in my PhD work, I've looked at how the presidential system of Nigeria, I'm not talking about presidential system, even though I can also do a correlation with the American model, in the Nigerian presidential system is contributing to Nigeria's democratic retrogression, democratic decline. Our presidential system, where someone becomes president, someone who has never had a company, who has never supervised staff, who has never invested real capital in capital market or so, suddenly become president, and that individual is empowered to employ everything that matters in the country, including the employment of who heads the security architecture, the employment of who manages election, the employment of everything.
All right.
That is a thing. That is not what happened in Ghana. In Ghana, the Electoral Commission operates like the justices, the judiciary. Once you are appointed, when you are appointed EC of Ghana, the person remains in that position until retirement.
Okay, let's pause on that. We'll come back to talk about the appointment of electoral chairman very quickly, but let's go on a very quick break and we'll come back to wrap the conversation up shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Before we went on the break, we're talking about elections in Nigeria, what we need to do. And our guest was Ogbenga had made a comparison between what we have and what Ghana has. And sir, whilst we were speaking at Austin, we were talking about Ghana's EC and how they would stay for 5 years, right? Sorry, they would stay till retirement, whilst in Nigeria, our electoral chairman will stay for 5 years. Why do you think that theirs is better, their system is better than what we have? Because perhaps there be an opportunity where one doubts the credibility of the electoral chairman. Shouldn't it give hope to say, worst case scenario, you will conduct 2 elections and you're out, and there can be somebody better put in there?
So that is why we have argued in the course of interrogating our electoral system that the player in the football field should not determine the referee for that match. You see the president's recent comment, which of course had divided views, that INEC is performing, so it is okay. It was also the same president, this current president, that once attacked INEC when it was PDP administration, when the PDP was in charge of appointing INEC chair. You see, so when we look at the Ghana model, the person who appointed the INEC, the EC chair, may have been 10 years, 15 years ago. So this person had lived certain loyalty. Look at what happened in Ghana in the last election in 2024. As election was proceeding, there were all manner of marking the process. Citizens focused on the process, including pushing the EC to the law and to the objective, which actually also happened in 2016. It's not new. When the NPP was coming on board in 2016, there were a lot of push in terms of work that was done. And I could credit easily Peter McMenu, who was then the chair of the NPP, who was in the media trying to expose certain malfeasance in the EC in the commission. So this is what happened. If the EC has done anything contrary to the Constitution, there's a process of removal. The same way there's a process of removal for any judge that has misbehaved. Where there are financial impropriety and etc., there are process of the removal. But in our own case, you are waiting for the next time where you have an opportunity to change this individual. Or what happened to Professor Mahmoud? He was asked to go on retirement, on leave, while somebody else comes in. So the person who appointed him asked him to step aside, that somebody else was coming. If it was a judicial process like they have in Ghana, it will not happen until that electoral commissioner turns 70. That's the age of retirement. But you see, there are differences. Why do Nigerians not trust INEC? Because the person participating in the election is the one who have appointed them. They are the one to fund them. They are the one to almost determine the course of action. And you know that perception is reality in many instances. That is why it is different. And I just cannot explain it more. In Ghana election, what happened in 2015 happened where Dr. Bamewa, having seen that he was losing an election, he didn't have to wait or control the EC to do what the incumbent will want. He immediately turned up and congratulated John D. Mahama and said, congratulations, that's fine. And that was it. That was what Goodluck Jonathan did in 2015 that helped save this nascent democracy. Why is it nascent? Why is it called nascent? Because we are one step forward, we are 3 steps backward. So it is still nascent today, and it will be nascent tomorrow, because rather than move forward and consistently move forward, we kept making great progress. Look at what happened between the 2 elections. Let me stay with 2 elections. 2015 election. Nigeria applauded INEC under Jega. And what was the improvement? A smart card reader and a permanent voter card. Two good innovations. Then came in 2023, more than a BVAS, more than a smart card reader came on board. A true game changer called the BVAS. But what happened? Glitches. We will return back to the days of 2007 when voters had voted and where voting was still happening in 2007, somewhere in Delta State and part of the state, Professor Iwu was announcing results in Abuja. So why were those criticisms for INEC? One, people say that while people were sleeping, INEC went to declare results. It looked funny, but it's a perception. And because of the trust deficit, people tend to trust the EC of Ghana because they understand the way the EC operates and the system that controls the EC. If the EC is to be removed today, the EC chair is to be removed today, what will happen is for somebody else that will come in, that person will not be able to manipulate the process because of the citizens' power. Like I was saying earlier, ethnicity has divided this country to the point that it is them versus us. And the elite consensus have used that strategy to further divide the country. And you hear the current presidential candidate of the ADC making commentary like the South has ruled more than the North since 1999. That Obasanjo had done 8 years, Buhari did 8 years, so cancel that. If you are to use mathematics, 8 cancel 8. That, what's his name? Musa Yar'Adua did 2 years. Jonathan did 6. If you cancel that, start as 4. Now, President Tinubu is going to complete 4 years. If you add 4 plus 4, that the South would have done 8 years more than the North in this nascent democracy since 1999. In an ideal country that is not nascent, are we going to be looking at those ethnic, who is the president of Nigeria? Where does it come from? Even the North, today, arguably, that the leadership of the North in the 8 years before this administration did not actually benefit the North. You know what happened in Castina, particularly in the village of former President Buhari, where citizens were even revolting when he had left office. Even when he passed on, may so rest in peace. You know what happened in Ekiti? I mean, in Castina State, in Daura specifically, because it is not where the person comes from. The president of Nigeria must be a Nigerian. These are part of why we still call nascent democracy.
Mr. Igbe, there's no way we can have this conversation without spotlighting Mr. President's comments on INEC. And also, that is not going to be, just to paraphrase him, it's not going to be a walkover for the opposition. They're going to wrestle, something similar to WrestleMania.
Wrestle not against flesh and blood.
That's Olive adding her own Maggie and ketchup.
She's a prayer warrior.
Yes. So what's your take on Mr. President? Is he in a position? I mean, he made the appointment, so he's probably monitoring his appointee and saying, you know, you're doing a good job. I give you the vote of confidence.
You know, that's why I mentioned it earlier. You see, the president's commentary, to be sincere, raises a lot of doubt and call to question the credibility of the Electoral Commission. The truth remains that when an employer tends to defend supposed employee in a manner that the employee is going to do a job for him or for her, it raises more doubt. And that is what the oppositions are saying. So why would the president, who appointed this individuals will tell you they are performing. It's like you are talking to your ministers. It's like you are talking to your normal appointee. INEC, let's not forget that the first letter there is I. It represents independent. As Frank Tete was talking in a recent conversation we had, INEC is not supposed to be loyal to any entity in this country, including the National Assembly. In his argument, he said that even the National Assembly making laws for INEC is immaterial, and that further weakens the independence of the Independent National Electoral Commission. I understand the challenge, but the president should not add up to the challenge, making it look as if this is going to be war. We are going to wrestle, as you said, WrestleMania. And thank you, my sister, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. The Bible has earlier recognizes that there are powers who will control. And today, it is a power dynamics. And I think it's important. Why we make it look as if it's a comic relief to try to douse tension by looking at flesh and blood. But the reality is that the president of the country ought not to make commentaries about INEC, whether they are independent or whatever, because he appointed them. He can control them. And that is what we are saying about the Ghana model. We're talking about what happened in Kenya. In Kenya, those who administer election apply to do the job. There's a recruitment process. People are selected. Honestly, my friend Benga, before you came into a News Central, I'm sure you went through the process of recruitment, including application, including certain interviews, or maybe you were headhunted. It means that they've seen your profile, they go for you and hunt you. But in any case, there is a process. Other individuals apply for this job. That makes your job a bit of very important job, because you've got to do the right thing so that your employer sees you doing a better job. And every other person around the ecosystem, in the media, and of course in the communication ecosystem or the media ecosystem, we say, I know Benga is a great guy. Why would we say so? Because we
That's
see
true.
you are performing your duty accordingly, not the other way around. But in this case, it pains me, and I think, Mr. President, if you have plans to make further commentaries about INEC or issues around WrestleMania, it should please avoid it, because it's sending a wrong signal to the system.
Thank you very much, Mr. Igbe. I must say that you were very right about using me as an example. They actually saw me, and they love what they saw. They love it. And they're still loving it.
You will love it.
God bless New Central Management.
Thank you
and long live INEC. Thank you so much, Mr. Austin Igbe. Always a pleasure speaking with you. And good luck with your PhD. We can't wait to address you as doctor.
Doctor, we look forward to that.
Austin Igbe, PhD.
Oh, it's actually the second one.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So we'll talk more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay.
All right, we're just receiving reports about a tanker accident in Asaba, Delta State. Residents have sparked, of course, outrage by defying safety warnings to scoop fuel from a leaking tanker along the Benin-Asaba-Onitsha highway near Asaba, Delta State capital. This is something that we constantly have condemned here on Breakfast Central, where there's an accident that has occurred. The first reaction should not be to go and scoop fuel or to make videos or to go and steal from whatever is in there, because you're potentially also endangering your life.
Risk.
Exactly. Concerned citizens have called on emergency agencies and relevant authorities to help step up public sensitization and ensure swift responses to forestall future incidences such as this one. I believe that we have our correspondent who will be joining us this morning from Asaba, Delta State. Austin Azu, good morning. Where are you, and can you bring us to speed about this tanker situation in Asaba?
Okay, good morning, Olive. Good morning, Benga. Okay, behind me is the scene of the accidents that occurred a few days ago. We are told that it occurred on Tuesday evening, and due to the cold weather, that was the reason why there was no casualty. Nevertheless, this is one of the major concerns expressed by Nigerians, that oftentimes when issues such as this happen, you discover a large number of individuals who will go to the scene to go and scoop fuel with jerry cans and other containers just for them to get fuel. But nevertheless, we are here at Okpanam City Gates near Asaba. We are here to speak to some of the eyewitnesses who witnessed what happened that very day and possible advice to Nigerians on how to go such an event. We have Kelechi Monday to talk to us how he experienced it that day. Kelechi Monday, how are you? Good morning, sir.
Yeah, you are welcome, sir.
Okay, quick one. Just summarize to us what really happened on that day and when did it happen?
This thing happened about 10 minutes to 5 in the evening, and this is my office. I'm a National Union member. So, you know, they have a construction road working. So the two vehicles, they collided. If you watch over there, you see that truck and the tanker. They are moving coming one direction. So, because this one was carrying iron, that one was carrying fuel. So they have to collide. And that process, the tank got broken. So a lot of fuel was pouring outside the streets here. So we have to, me and my chairman, we have to call the DPO here, Mr. Samuel, to call his boss to come and chase all these people away, because I'm always on social media, see illegal fuel bunkering, how fuel used to burn people, burn them like barbecue. So we are not even happy seeing people running around to go and fetch fuel here. We even call some people like all these Aboki them and some people from Okpanam here to advise them, but they insist. But still, we still try our best to call the Nigerian Police Force Okpanam Division here to come and settle the case. So that scenario that day, it was very terrible. But we thank God for the rain that fell from morning to night. I guess that it was the work of God. That is why the weather was calm. If not, everywhere will be disaster.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have Victor Eze. Victor Eze. Okay, you witnessed what happened that very day. Now, Nigerians have thrown caution away. Each time each incident happened, you discover a lot of people do go there to go and fetch fuel. From your own point of view, what do you think is responsible? How can we correct this?
And already the country is not normal. By the time tanker fall like this, any people going there and collecting empty fuel, something, is risky. It's taking risky. The country will know what we do about it. They need to set task force. It's because of how bad country, that is why hungry, full everywhere. The country is not supposed to be as supposed to be. So there.
Thank you, Mr. Victor. We appreciate you. From the respondents so far, you quite agree with me that there's need for us to go about this issue of sensitization, and of course, individual differences have to place their life first before every other thing when incidents occur. So back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Austin, for bringing us that update. I can understand when the last man says, normally the country not normal. Because how is it that when there's an accident, the first thing they're thinking of is endangering their lives and going to scoop fuel?
The natural thing to do is flee from danger. Only if you have a death wish, that's where you go towards danger. But thank you, Austin, as always, for bringing us up to speed with these reports.
All right. We'll use this opportunity to reiterate again and to mention that you should not in any way, shape or form run to a tanker that has collapsed or that has had an accident because you want to skip fuel. If you're doing that, make sure that you've written your will and you've said goodbye to your loved ones, because that tanker can explode and we should not encourage such actions.
I'd also like to add that tobacco smokers are liable to die young, and if you scoop fuel, you're also liable to die young.
Immediately, actually. So you are liable to die.
Don't smoke and don't scoop fuel.
We're going to break now. When we come back, we'll be bringing you breakfast headlines. Please stay with us.
Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aborowa. 14 governorship candidates contesting the August 15 Osun state elections have signed a peace accord committing themselves to a peaceful, free A credible poll, incumbent Governor Ademola Jackson Adeleke joined other candidates, while some contestants were represented by party officials. The accord was facilitated by the National Peace Committee in partnership with INEC and witnessed by religious leaders, security agencies, traditional rulers, and other stakeholders. They urged political parties and supporters to avoid violence before, during, and after the elections. Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says the federal government refused to negotiate or pay ransom to the kidnappers who abducted pupils and teachers from Oriire local government area of Oyo State in May. Speaking while receiving Oyo State traditional rulers in Abuja, the president said security agencies tracked the abductors through intelligence gathered from their families and communities, leading to the arrest and the rescue of the victims. Tinubu said the Oriire incident exposed gaps in the country's security architecture and informed his directive to expand the Nigerian army from 8 to 12 divisions. The president also announced plans to retrain and re-equip forest guards while reiterating support for state policing with safeguards against abuse. In a related development, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has constituted a judicial commission of inquiry to investigate the abductions of pupils and teachers from Estinele and Yauta communities in Oriire local government area earlier this year. The panel is expected to determine the circumstances surrounding the incident, identify the security failures that made the attack possible, and recommend measures to prevent similar occurrences. The commission is scheduled to be inaugurated on Friday, according to the Commissioner for Information and Civic Orientation, Dr. Oyelade. The inquiry will examine the sequence of events leading to the kidnapping, assess the response of relevant authorities, and propose ways to strengthen the protection of schools and communities. US President Donald Trump says a breakthrough has been reached in efforts to end the war in Gaza, announcing that Hamas has agreed to a plan for the complete disarmament of its fighters and other armed groups in the territory. A senior Hamas official also confirmed the group has accepted the proposal and said a formal statement will soon be issued. Under the plan, Israel will begin withdrawing its forces from Gaza as the disarmament process is completed, paving way for a new Palestinian administration. US officials say the agreement formed part of a broader 20-point ceasefire framework already discussed with Israel. They expressed confidence that Israel would honor the plan, but warned President Trump would be disappointed if it failed to withdraw after Hamas fulfills its obligations. Israel has not officially endorsed the proposal. Reports indicate Israeli officials are still reviewing the terms, with some describing the current framework as falling short of the country's security requirements, leaving the future of the agreement uncertain. And outside the shores of Africa, Spain has deployed troops to its North African enclave of Ceuta after a surge in irregular migrant arrivals overwhelmed local authorities and prompted calls for national emergency. More than 1,500 migrants reached the territory by sea within a week, with many swimming from neighboring Morocco using wetsuits and inflatable devices. Reception centers are now operating beyond capacity. Spanish authorities say they are working with Morocco to accelerate the return of undocumented migrants, while the European Union has offered operational support through Frontex to strengthen border management. That's all on Breakfast Headlines. Breakfast Central continues with the front pages of the newspapers. I am Benga Aboroa.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. It is time for us to review the front pages of the papers, see what they're saying, and bring them to you. But also, we want to announce that this is the point where we take your comments in the YouTube chat box, and we open the phone lines for you as well to calling so we can get your thoughts. You're welcome. And we have globally renowned journalist with us in the studio, Mr. Abi Baruna. Thank you very much for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Abi Barono, great to have you.
Mr. Abi Barono, yesterday was Gbenga's birthday.
Yes, I saw it and I commented.
Okay.
I was well celebrated.
Thank you very much.
And I particularly noted what you scripted down to celebrate him. It was
a good hype woman.
It was very symbolic.
Thank you.
I
Thank you so
respect her
much,
for
sir.
that. She likes to celebrate her people.
Yes, I have to celebrate.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the papers this morning. You feel free to call in and drop a comment. Our first paper this morning is The Guardian. On the front page of Guardian, high cost of hepatitis care, stressed facilities expose 20 million to liver damage. Hey. Anyway, contracts fraud most prevalent corruption in public sector, says EFCC boss. Fresh claims, counterclaims overshadow Osun peace accord ahead of polls. Federal government ends dirty fuel, says no petrol above 50 ppm in Nigeria. Federal government adopts household mapping to tackle 15 million out-of-school children. Banks flagged 13,117 BVNs for fraud as consumer credit falls to 3.8 trillion naira. Senate expands oil sector probe to agencies, firms over NATI's audit findings. Oyedele explains how Nigeria spent FX subsidy removal savings. Huriwa accuses reps panel of prejudging PFIPC probe. These are the stories on the front page of the newspaper. You can see a picture here with the Governor of Central Bank, the DG of World Trade Organization, Okonjo-Iweala, and Funding Director and Chief Executive of Emerging Markets Forum. We did bring that package to you earlier. Let's get into the paper. Osun Peace. Osun gubernatorial polls. Let's get your thoughts.
Signed a peace accord on paper.
But the peace accord is not giving peace.
Traditional rulers were there, but is it a guarantee of peace? Because the street soldiers, the foot soldiers, the agberos that will be snatching ballot, but God forbid that are likely to, were not present. So how significant is this peace accord?
Looking beyond the symbolism of this peace deal, the signing of peace accord, that's what has been going on for long. Particularly, it started during the time of Jonathan. You know, we have Reverend Father Kuka, former military head of state, Absalom Abubakar. They are the head of this committee. And the idea is to ensure that political parties, you know, sit down together and find a way to make peace. So that during the elections, there'll be peace, there'll be law and order, and Nigeria will be free, you know, to exercise their franchise. That's been going on. And even with these governorship elections, after the calendar, you know, it's been going, it happened in Edo State, it happened in the Ekiti State, and now it's happening in Osun State. The one in Osun is a particular concern to me. But I don't know why anytime we have elections, before elections,
tension.
Event preceding the election, there will be tension in the state, there will be political violence, there will be, and unfortunately, those are supposed to keep security. They are not unbiased. You know, they are always involved in this state. And
they have accused the police.
And you have to, of course, you have to accuse the police. If you look at the statement yesterday of the Speaker of the State, they were at a forum in Oshogbo, and they were discussing. They were sitting down with the
CP,
with the Speaker, and they were sitting together. And the CP looked at the direction, and they said he started laughing.
And that's why they ordered a raid.
And the Speaker told him that this man is already under arrest too. Yes, I told him this, and
lo and behold,
the guy was arrested.
But they're saying...
No, I school in Osun. And I have
the political
a more than casual knowledge of what is going on in Osun State. Bros, if the election were ahead today, and the delegate will flock that APC guy. I'm an APC member. I have sympathy for AC. But I'm telling you what is on ground in Osun State. Even the traditional rulers, they don't have it any longer. They are saying that allow the citizens to vote. Allow them to choose their leaders, their governor. That's what they're saying.
There are those that say, you know, having the federal might, whatever.
No, the federal might, you can only work
the APC
when you are popular, my brother. That states
about the back
in quote of the president.
And the high-powered.
They forget the APC.
The fact that Mr. President's ancestral home is Osun State.
People in Osun State, they are known to be very conscious and to always insist that their vote must count.
Okay.
So what I'm saying, I have high school there. I have sympathy for APC naturally, but I'm telling you as a journalist, what is on ground in that place? I got party.
But will people be able to?
If the nation holds today,
will people be able to come out?
No, the people will insist to come out. That you guys are watching.
So that's a valid question, because if the police that is supposed to be entrusted with protecting citizens is being accused by members of the state of being a part of the violence that is plaguing the state.
Arresting people for life.
Exactly, arresting people. Arresting them, taking them to Abuja.
So what guarantee do they have that when they come out?
Those are valid reservations, being expressed by politicians of both parties, But what I'm saying is that the onus is on the police to ensure that there is free and fair atmosphere for people to exercise their voting right. That's my position. And I'm not comfortable with the role the CP has been playing. There were reports that he has been redeployed. I hope it is so. And I think there should be a new person, to pretend the security of that state. Let the Osun people decide. It's not a matter of do or die that you must take over the state. No.
It's not.
It should not be the case. And the territorial rulers are saying, the Obas are saying that people are ready to vote. We should be allowed to vote. The Obas are comfortable with what Adeleke has been doing. And Adeleke has been dancing at the same time, doing some things.
But have you seen that flyover?
Unfortunately, too, the APC people are not united behind their candidate.
Well, there's some influence.
No, of course, absolutely. As I said, I'm from that state. I normally tell my friends who are consultant to politicians that I say, come on, this is what is going on. But believe me or not, I'm telling you, and it ended up being what I projected. So I'm appealing to the IG, who I'm sure has people that watch your program. It should allow free and fair atmosphere. People should be allowed to exercise their voting right. They should be allowed to choose their leaders.
But what kind of life is this one that we are appealing to IGP to allow people vote?
No. I mean to make sure the right atmosphere is provided. Absolutely. That is what we find ourselves.
So you agree that this chaos in Osun State is political?
No, whether political or not, both sides are to be blamed for all these things. But what I'm saying is that the Osun people have waited for 4 years, right? They have a right, in line with the constitution of the country, to renew the mandate or reject the mandate given to Adeleke. That is what should happen. It should not be a do-or-die affair. And why it's becoming a do-or-die affair, increasingly too, is because these people are not ready to work for the people.
Okay.
But not to work for the people. You go and die there.
You won't be so
These people, they see it as something that they must die for. Well, I don't understand the mentality of our politicians. And I think that Nigeria, the citizens should insist that our voting right must be duly exercised.
Let me read comments.
Osun State's indigents can be swayed by vote buying. Because I've been reporting politics in contemporary Nigeria
for more than 27, 28 years. There's some states you cannot sway, like for your state, for example. Your citizens, they will cast their vote. In your state, the outgoing governor wanted to be a senator. He was defeated. The outgoing governor wanted to impose a candidate. The candidate was defeated. Don't forget that during the time of Aregbesola, my friend Aregbesola, the president of Nigeria, Jonathan, and his people wanted to take over Osun by force. They could not. Osun people, they'll be singing and they'll be giving you all this idiomatic expression that you cannot take over Osun State. These people they are very conscious. They know what they want.
They're very politically savvy.
And it will be disturbing and a disappointment if they try to impose anybody on them. It may not work.
Okay, let's see what they're saying online about this Osun elections coming up on the 15th of August. So today is the last day of July, and we have 15 days to the Osun gubernatorial elections. If you're in Osun State, please call us and tell us what is happening in your state, what the mood is like, how many people are excited about going to the polls, you know, and what you generally think about it. On YouTube, we're streaming on YouTube, News Central TV Live. Olumide Alade says, it is under this administration that we're witnessing a situation where state governors, ministers and other individuals with no direct stake are being drafted into committees to determine the political future and leadership of a state. What then is the purpose of conducting the Osun State governorship election if the will of the people can be overridden? Democracy is built on the people's mandate, not on the imposition of power.
Correct.
Let the choice of the people prevail. Leadership should be decided through free and fair democratic processes, not by force. Okwanachi Suleiman says Governor Adeleke will win his re-election by a landslide, and nothing federal might can do to stop the good people of Osun State. Michael Obieku says, Mr. Habib Haruna, thank you for your unbiased analysis despite being an APC supporter. So collect your flowers. You know, yesterday we had another analyst who they were dragging, and they said, Mr. Habib Haruna should have been here because they said he's an APC supporter and that he's actually Bayo Ononuga that we invited into our studio. Our audience, we throw a salute for you. Let's go to Vanguard newspaper.
I think the upshot is that it's important for the people of Osun State to be allowed to freely exercise a franchise. It's very, very important place. And they should know that the whole world is watching. The whole world is watching. If the man has done well, let the people decide. If they have not done well, let them decide. It's important for the future.
And that's the beauty.
For the future and development of democracy in Osun State and Nigeria.
Okay, I want to actually call for a statement that has gone viral and was part of what caused chaos yesterday during newspaper analysis. If our producers are listening, please, in case you have the video of the president when he was receiving delegates and he was speaking about the neutrality of INEC. So first of all was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had said that INEC is, INEC is neutral, INEC is fair, and had encouraged and made statements in the line of they will wrestle to the finish or something like that. And the argument was, first of all, is the president within his rights to determine the fairness or the neutrality of INEC and what he means by wrestle to the finish. I want your own interpretation of it. If we have that video, please. But let's get your interpretation.
First of all, we will not expect the president to say INEC will not be fair and fair. That is unfair on the president. The president made that statement on his own. That is not good enough. If he was asked and he responded, yes, that is fair for the president. You know, there was a time in Ghana, and the president of Ghana invited the INEC, the electoral chief, to government house, and the man refused. The man told the president of Ghana that you cannot invite me. You don't have the right to invite me, and I will not come because people will see it as I'm beginning to be tilting towards the ruling party. You know, so I think that kind of statement should be very should be measured. You know, but you cannot expect the president to be saying that INEC will be biased.
Let me quote him. He said, I asked for this job. I mean it. Those who will take it from me will try. They will try. All is fair in politics and it's equal opportunity. INEC, you mentioned, is neutral. They've never intimidated anybody. If political opponents are crying wolf, maybe they are afraid of their own shadows and the uncertainty in the companies they keep. Not me. I'm ready, but I won't give them a red carpet. I won't offer them the leash to tie me and rope me. No, we wrestle each other to the finishing point, the president said. Anyway, that's not the conversation today. Let's go to the Vanguard newspaper. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, big story, federal government labor clash over use of fuel subsidy removal savings. Savings used to service increased workers' salaries and others, Oedele says. You're economical with truth, Labour tells federal government, dares finance minister to produce evidence on salary claim. Federal government launches grassroots LPG drive in Bayelsa. Menace of open defecation, that is, Omayagbenita, that means they are actually poo-pooing on the road in 2026. People, Bega, you've not seen them. Oh, it's true, you don't plant Third Mainland Bridge. Early in the morning on your way to work, very early as 5 a.m. A grown adult will pull their...
No, it's too graphic.
But it's the truth. They do it.
They do bagaya.
Nigeria's silent sanitation emergency. People poo on the road, people pee on the road. In fact, it's so bad that you see it's a normal thing when people are pressed on Third Mainland Bridge. They will park their car, open their doors to use the door to protect themselves. Particularly men.
Please, this is not a gender.
Bridge.
Yes, because it's easy for men to pee in public.
Men and women.
No, it's particularly men.
Okay, human beings.
Okay, we'll come back to that one.
This FG and Labour clash.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was listening to the Minister of Finance. Intelligent man. Brilliant, articulate. You know what? You see, his articulation cannot be measured with what is on the table of Nigerians. Nigerians are talking about bread and butter.
Absolutely.
You cannot, I was telling my friend 2 days ago that you cannot enter fuel station and come out smiling. I bought fuel the last time, 1,270. You want me to be happy? I cannot.
I can't remember the last time I filled my tank.
You know, I filled up yesterday. I had to. I can't be going to the
filling station. We fill tank, because if you don't fill tank.
Oh, you guys, you live in a long
what the man is saying is not in tandem the realities. Yes, things have improved. We no longer borrow to pay salaries, no longer print money. CBN is no longer printing money anyhow without due consideration. But the fact remains that people are not finding it easy to survive.
It's not easy.
At least that things are difficult. So those are the things that the man should be looking at. They're doing their best. But at the same time, we don't kill a child when trying to rescue that child. You know, so they should look into it. And I think what Labour is doing what they should be doing, asking good questions and telling them to put everything on the table.
Outside.
Let's look at the maths.
Yes.
Yes, let's look at the maths.
This issue of subsidy removal is the biggest or one of the biggest policies that President Bola Tinubu introduced upon coming to power.
You know why it's so painful? Why it's so painful? When the price of fuel was going down over the world, when there was a break in the fight between the US and Iran, the price of fuel went down all over the world. But Nigeria did not go down. Did not go down.
No.
Marketers were still...
And the government was helpless. The government was controlled by the marketers. That they will not...
Meanwhile, it's meant to be deregulated.
Yeah, absolutely. So
where's
something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. And you cannot beat a child so that not to cry. So what Labour is saying is that Nigerians are suffering. What they are getting, taking home every day is not enough to feed them.
Not families.
Enough. Government can do more, and they should do more.
I know it's interesting how
they spend so much money on fuel,
how a lot of us are living. Because you ask yourself, how many people's salaries have been increased? There are organizations, and kudos to those who are able to afford and have increased their staff salaries. Well, how many people have increased salaries? How many people can afford? Yesterday in my estate, they sent another message in the group. Our service charge has increased. Come and see fight inside estate WhatsApp group. You know, and these are people that typically are comfortable, middle class, right? Everybody was provoked in the group. They say, you can't just bring up an increase. We haven't received salary increase. Our landlords have doubled the rent. And then, so it's just, Nigerians feel like we're struggling to survive.
Well, there's no doubt that some things have been done. The government is doing some things. Yes, given that credit. But when it does not translate to bread and butter.
Bread and butter.
People complain.
People say that that's the lowest form of argument. But you can be talking about the macroeconomic development,
exchange rate, stock exchange. Those things are improving.
Yes.
The man on the street.
But they should talk about how to make sure people at home can feed.
Yes, it's why when we go to countries like the UAE and you are seeing the average Emirate, they don't do some of these menial jobs that foreigners are coming to do because the average Emirati is settled.
It will be simplistic and nonsensical. For people to be comparing Nigeria with other countries, that we are not the same thing at all. What these guys are benefiting from the countries, the amenities, infrastructure, those things, subsidies that they have in other things.
No, we only compare our own when we say, we are, according to Benga, a nascent democracy. That even people who have been practicing democracy in other countries are still struggling in their own.
They should do more. They should do more.
And then when it's time to talk of tax.
It's beyond wearing suit and speaking English. Okay. People should feel it. People feel the government.
Let me take comments from YouTube. Mokunyo Chukwuemeka said, grab it and snatch it will be the order of the day as usual. Michael Obieku says, a situation whereby people are not allowed to choose who they want, but who the president wants is no longer democracy but autocracy, which unfortunately is what the present dispensation is practicing. Perfectly said, Mr. Renaud. The finance minister failed to answer the question and stylishly deviated from what he was asked. I'm a finance person with so many years in the field of practice. He practically and tactically avoided the question using financial terminologies to distract the audience, which for those who have sound background in finance knew he didn't speak to the question. Mokunyo Chukwuemeka says, Olive, we are struggling to survive. It's not like I'm about to pay a rent increment of over 20%. Did my salary increase? No, exactly. The same thing I was saying to my landlord. Honestly, at this point, I'm still going to call my landlord this week to beg, to say please, because it's too short notice for me to go and start looking for another apartment. And my rent, yes, it's not cheap. My rent is not cheap. I live on the island. No. And I live in a good environment. Amen. No. It's not cheap. So you think about the fact that the money that you use to pay rent now can actually buy a car. Make it make sense. How much is our salary? Let me continue with the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. On the front page, why we refuse to negotiate with Oriire terrorists, Tinubu says. And this is, of course, talking about what happened in Oriire. Recall that part of what they were saying was that they had paid the terrorists, that they should come out and give the full truth. There were different rumors going around as to what had happened with the Oriire rescue victims.
But the president is saying now, categorically, yes, this is what should have happened after those people were released. The president of the country is the chief communicator of the nation. The president should talk to the people when this kind of thing happened, not a spokesperson speaking. When the president speaks, you believe. When the president looks directly to Nigeria, the faces of Nigerians, this is what happened. My fellow Nigerians, people will believe it, but not appestants, not leaving it to the hands of his advisors, and spokespersons. Yesterday, the national rulers of Oyo State went to Aso Rock to greet the president. So, of course, the Oriire
conversation,
this thing came up, and the president was telling them that yes, it's true, they did not pay any ransom to the bandits, and the president was also saying that, corroborating what we'll be hearing, that the families of those people, of those kidnappers, of those terrorists, were also held hostage. That's what they negotiated with, and eventually it was resolved. Coming up from the president, that shows that we are heading somewhere, But they should not be reactive; they should be proactive going forward, so that.
And they should also release those that are.
And the president said something again that's very important, very instructive, that the governors should do more to take care of the needs and welfare of citizens in their various states.
Okay, so now
that they should stop building flyovers, yes, airports, and the rest. That is what is going. That's what has been going on.
Okay, I'll come back to you for you to speak on that. But just to mention, if you look at that same Nigerian Tribune, where the president has spoken clearly on the fact that there was no negotiation. Top right corner.
Yes.
Your government set up judicial commission to probe Oriire students' abduction.
That's coming to that.
So can you speak about that? Because if the president is saying there was no payment of negotiation, the state governor had called for foreign.
I was coming to that.
For foreign intervention.
International bodies.
Exactly.
The lead story and the one at the first side, they are not mutually exclusive. They are interrelated. The president is saying that this is what happened. There's no negotiation. The governor can do more to take care of the citizens in their states. They should stop embarking on inconsequential projects that do not really affect people in their states. At the far corner, you have the governor that is insisting that the kidnapping of those children and teachers, was political. That's what he's saying. The governor was extending what you have been saying yesterday by setting up judicial panel of inquiry to really find out what happened. And I don't know where you get this information from. I don't think that it was political. I think those guys all decided to be stupid and to kidnap our children. That's Oriire. So that shows that there's there's a communication gap. There's a far differences between the governor and the president. You know, the national rulers in the state went to Asu Rock, and he was saying yesterday in his own state that he was setting up issue of inquiry. Don't forget that this same governor, you know, this same governor called on the UN to intervene on what is going on in Nigeria.
Maybe UN no answer.
Maybe the UN did not answer, or he's still waiting for the UN intervention, not set up his own part of inquiry. We are waiting. Let's see how it goes. But I don't think, personally, it's a political matter.
Okay.
It's a security breach.
Let's now move to...
But the president has a way. He said something yesterday that he's been saying all along. Our governors should do more. They should concentrate on people's welfare, schools, hospitals.
Absolutely.
You know, many infrastructure that will benefit, link roads, you know, roads in rural areas, rural electrification. These are the things, this health care, these are the things that will affect our people mostly.
The latest
most of them are building flyovers, airports.
Or setting up state airlines.
Those things are inconsequential. They don't need them now. Airports, only 4 airports in Nigeria, profitable. 4 airports, majorly profitable. Others are coming up. Then why are they building flyovers?
About state airlines.
Look at the governor, the former governor of Ogun State. Many flyovers. Some completed.
Let's look at, still on the front page, there's a story that I want us to take because it's closely related to something that is going to happen on the 10th of August. Only 1,200 medical doctors serving 9 million residents in Ogun. Nigeria Medical Association raises alarm. This is closely linked to another story.
Please, can you take
that one again?
That one again.
Only 1,200 medical doctors serving 9 million residents in Ogun. NMA raises alarm.
An emergency.
It is an emergency.
1,200 to 9 million people. Meanwhile,
maybe the native doctor that is augmenting the remaining figures. And they're also doctors.
Please, Benka, leave me alone. Association of Resident Doctors, I believe, are going on strike. Yes, on the Vanguard. Bottom right corner of the Vanguard. Unmet demands. Resident doctors begin strike August 10th. Which way are we going? Because it feels that every other month, there's a bit of a break. The next thing, doctors are going on strike with the already dilapidated state of our healthcare. We're still experiencing this again.
It's part of the challenge government will face. You know, it's a normal thing.
No, but
government is about facing challenges.
These are medical.
This thing will happen.
Critical sector.
Medical doctors, teachers, all of it will happen. So I'm sure the government will not call them to a meeting. You know, let them know what is going on, what is on ground, what they can afford, and the reason why they should bear with them and they should.
You know,
not go on strike.
These are the issues
to be resolved.
Talking about the money that we put into flyovers, please.
That's what we are saying.
Critical sector.
And it's what we are saying.
Human beings develop their capacity.
You know, look at the story of 1,200 doctors in Ogun State.
Yeah.
Ogun State is not a poor state. Ogun State is a rich state. Because people are now going there to invest, and its proximity to the state of excellence.
And there's a lot
Lagos
of
state.
industrial.
So it's about government prioritizing what is important, you know, for the state, people of the state. Because if you look at before now, my sister.
Yes.
Before now, when our state of assemblies, when our lawmakers, when they hold the governors accountable, you cannot embark on any funny project that is not consequential without getting approval from the lawmakers. But what is going on now? What is going on now is the state executives, that is the governor, have become increasingly parasitic, greedy, you know, and they settle the lawmakers. So the lawmakers cannot cry wolf when this thing has been done. Because when you cry, they tell you that, my friend, we know everything now. So it's not done. This thing is not done without the approval, without the notice, knowledge of lawmakers. They are party. There is something that they are doing to. It's a racket, actually. It's a racket that they're backing up. So the lawmakers are aware. If they're not aware, they will call the governors to order to stop it. It's happening in my state too, Edo State. Embarking on electric flyovers that does not directly have a positive effect on citizens. That's what I'm saying. So if there are check and balances, this will not happen.
Okay.
In your home state of Edo State, there's a famous flyover, Ramat Park flyover.
That's what the man is doing. It's been unnecessary.
It's also
we need roads. Auchi to Benin is in a mess. There are many township roads that are in a mess. The governor should do those things. Not embarking on
senator from your state
on a flyover.
Yesterday did raise this alarm. Adams Oshomole saying that the Minister of Works is almost like he has something against those states, that there are roads that are linking to other states that have not been fixed, are in a very terrible state, and is still embarking on new road projects. What do you make of it?
The minister also said that they are doing more, that Oshomole should check the budget, and that we see that federal government is doing more for the state and Delta State. But people fly Benin to Asaba, Benin to Warri. They will tell you that the minister is not doing anything about it. So Oshomole represents me in Edo State. Oshomole has been very, very effective in giving us robust representation at the National Assembly and the Senate in particular. So they should listen to him. The minister should listen to him. Who feels it knows it. People plying down roads, they will tell the minister that
I'm sure his constituents have been complaining.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're almost done. Let's see if we can quickly take a call from Benin. We have Matthew calling. Hello, Matthew. Good morning. Hi, it's Mark, Luke, and John. Thank you very much. Please turn on the volume of your TV set so we can have a proper conversation with you.
Okay. I want to say that I enjoy your program, and Sister Olive and Brother Benga, you are doing a great work there.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for the compliment.
I want to also say that I really admire a person, Mr. Olive. I watched your program with your mom, and it was a wonderful one. And that's more reason why I want to say keep up the great work. And concerning what you are talking about, it's very unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation where impunity actually not kind of the day. Osun State, being invoked. And when we talk about this violence, the one we had in Lagos, where people were picking up, during both and those issues, if nothing was going about that one, we shouldn't expect anything different. Because a lot of times, when we don't take deterrence for past events, we are only giving room for more of such events to come. And at the end, we can't fight it when they come. Yes, the waiting that becomes a thing of a kind of like a fear. Where if it is not APC, there's no election. It's a big deal for us. And if we don't sit down to handle this issue, I don't know where we think we are going ahead in our life. Because talking about the issue of where, the issue of the savings we have from the removal of the subsidy, those money that are being removed, are they being given to the government so that they can plan to employ state police officers that will now bring the election for them? Because the content is focused on state police now, when we to answer the police we have.
All right.
I mean, everybody gives to the governors.
All right. Thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you so much for calling and sharing your thoughts. We are almost out of the studio, but we need to take one call from Osun State very quickly. Let's get a bird's eye view of what's happening in the state. Good morning. Thank you very much, Ogundele, for calling from Osun State. Oh, I hope he's still there. Ogundele, are you still with us? Oh. Good morning. Please, if you can speak up, we're struggling to hear you. What is the situation like in Osun State? How ready are the citizens to vote at the incoming elections?
Everything is tense. Yeah, I cannot deceive you. Everything is tense. We are very much ready. We are on ground to ensure that this election, go free and fair. We, the supporter of Adeleke, the governor, the current governor, we are ready. We are not intimidated. We are not going to be, to panic. We are going to vote, and we are going to stay with our vote. This man is working assiduously, and we love him. We, the people of Osun State, we are on ground to ensure that his second time is certain, and nothing is going to change that. Although they are shooting everywhere, sporadically, making all the citizens to fear or panic. But we are not going to panic. The fact remains that we love him and we are going to vote for him. We are not afraid of Oyetola. We are not afraid of FPC. We love Governor Adeleke. We are not afraid of Federal Might. We love him. If you go to the nooks and crannies of this state, it is Adeleke. And we are going to vote him massively. Check everywhere. Check the comment section on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere. This man is working assiduously. He's paying salary. He's making sure that the farmers, there's nothing like insecurity in Osun State. Every sector is being taken care of. We have never seen a governor like this in the history of Osun State. We, the citizens, we are not going to be intimidated.
Thank you so much for calling and giving us your perspective. We have to head out of the studio. If not, we'll have loved to hear from you. You can hear the passion with which he's speaking about this. This is what you had said earlier.
APC members too. I would have
loved to, yes.
But what I told you is what is going on. That is, if you aggregate the opinion of people in that place, that's what is going on. I school there and what is going on there. So I just pray that the stakeholders should allow peace to reign. The citizens should be allowed to choose their governor. The electorate should be allowed to choose that in a free and transparent atmosphere. It's very important.
All right.
The future of that state.
Mr. Habib Haruna, in the comment section, we can see the people who say Mr. Habib has done justice to today's review. The kidnapped can tell us the right thing as regards to ransom payment. Let the governor continue his investigation. We'll continue to wait and see how things play out there. As for me and mine, we'll be heading out of the studio. I have a premiere for 1 p.m. today I need to go get ready for.
And Joe will be back on Monday.
Yes, he'll be back from his maternity leave. Thank you so much, Mr. Habib Haruna. Thank you to our virtual audience. Thank you to every guest. Have a great weekend. As we exit the studio, Jasir is up next. Please don't tune out. Engage with them as well. We'll be right back on Monday. Bye-bye.